Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web.
President Duterte has recalled the order of the government's pandemic task force to allow children aged 10 to 14 years old to go outside their homes in areas under the modified general community quarantine due to the new COVID-19 variant. Duterte made a statement after the order of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases to ease the age restrictions in MGCQ areas met mixed reactions from the public. In his state public address aired on Monday evening, President Duterte said he made the decision as a precautionary measure against the new United Kingdom variant of COVID-19 which was recently found in the Cordillera Administrative Region.
It has nothing to do with their incompetence, not at all. Akin is a precaution because there was a strain discovered in the Cordillera na that is very similar to the strain dito sa United Kingdom. How it got there is beyond me. Hindi ko talaga bakit dumating doon. But nandoon, nakita naman nila, and I trust that our doctors, our medical workers are really competent enough to determine this situation existing. So, balik ko kayo sa bahay muna.
President Duterte asked for the public's understanding about his decision to recall the new IATF order. However, until health experts are certain that the new UK variant affects children or not, his order will stay.
Pasensya na po kayo. Mine is just a precaution. Wala itong bisa. Takot lang ako kasi itong bagong strain strikes the young children. Itong original na COVID, hardly if at all, na wala kang marinig na may bata. Meron one or two, and you can count it by the fingers of your hands.
On Friday, the IATF allowed those aged 10 to 65 to go outside their homes in areas under the MGCQ, even urging local governments in GCQ areas to follow suit to revive the economy. For MB Now, this is Argil Hiducos reporting.
The government task force may request a change in community quarantine status for some areas in the country after their hospital beds are nearly full with coronavirus cases. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III reported to President Duterte that the healthcare utilization rate of Davao de Oro and Baguio City has reached critical level. Nueva Vizcaya and Agusan del Norte, on the other hand, have high utilization rate of their COVID hospital beds. Based on the DOH tracker, the hospital bed occupancy of Davao de Oro, formerly known as Compostela Valley, has reached 91.2%. Of the 91 COVID hospital beds, 83 are occupied. At least 814 cases have been reported in the province. In Baguio City, 85.9% or 213 of the 248 COVID beds are so far occupied. The summer capital has tallied 4,784 cases with 647 active cases and 79 deaths. At least 49.1% or 83 of the 169 COVID hospital beds in Agusan del Norte are being used. The province has recorded 581 cases of coronavirus with 21 deaths. In Nueva Vizcaya, there have been 781 COVID cases. So far, 38 of the 208 hospital beds are occupied, representing 18.3% bed occupancy.
Bukas po, pag-uusapan ng IATF ang amin pong monthly recommendation na ibibigay po namin sa inyo, Ginoong Pangulo, for a possible change in the community quarantine statuses. So, ang Davao de Oro, Compostela Valley, Baguio City are at critical level healthcare utilization rate. Ang Nueva Vizcaya and Agusan del Norte are at high-level HCUR.
Duque said the Health Department will continue to coordinate with the Department of Interior and Local Government as well as concerned local government units to curb the rise in COVID cases. He said they will implement the prevent, detect, isolate, treat, and reintegrate strategy that includes the enforcement of minimum public health standards. The healthcare utilization rate of dedicated beds and equipment for COVID-19 is among the factors considered by the IATF to determine any escalation or de-escalation of an area's quarantine level.
So patuloy po ang aming pakikipag-ugnayan sa ating pong DOH, Centers for Health Development, ang DILG at mga LGUs upang mapigilan ang patuloy na pagtaas ng mga kaso sa pamamagitan ng ating PDITR strategies, lalo na ang ating pong mga pagsunod sa minimum public health standards.
Except for Metro Manila and several areas, the country is under the least restrictive modified general community quarantine until the end of the month. The areas under GCQ are National Capital Region, Santiago City, Batangas, Tacloban City, Iligan City, Lanao del Sur, Davao City, and Davao del Norte. The President is expected to decide on the next classification level for the month of February based on the recommendation of the IATF. For MB Now, this is Jeneline Cabiling reporting.
Senator Christopher Bongo on Tuesday welcomed the decision of the government's laboratory experts panel to allow the cheaper, faster, and safer saliva tests for coronavirus disease as an alternative to the RT-PCR test. The recommendation of the panel has already been submitted to the Department of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III. Go presided over the Senate committee hearing last October 19, 2020 and asked the DOH if possible to adopt the saliva-based COVID-19 testing in the country. According to him, the test would be much cheaper, faster, and safer, and which would significantly help revive the tourism industry. Earlier, the Philippine National Red Cross piloted a study to determine the accuracy of tests for COVID-19 using saliva specimens. The initial results have shown that the tests are relatively accurate. The DOH has also allowed the initial rollout of the use of the less expensive saliva test for the new coronavirus, but only among PRC molecular laboratories. A person applying for a post in the government does not need a padrino or sponsor to clinch the job. President Duterte has reminded job applicants to avoid getting a padrino to endorse them, saying he prefers to choose from the pool of eligible applicants from the Civil Service Commission. The president also ruled out any political considerations in the appointment of qualified persons to government positions. In filling the vacancies in government, Duterte explained that he could select from the many bright Filipinos looking for jobs. Under the Constitution, the President has the power to appoint the heads of the executive departments, ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, officers of the armed forces from the rank of colonel or naval captain, and other officers. Appointments made during the recess of Congress shall be effective only until disapproved by the Commission on Appointments or until the next adjournment of Congress.
Kayong nasa gobyerno, lahat, police, tayo, pati presidente, kayo lahat, tayo lahat dito. Maraming Pilipino na bright na walang trabaho. Diyan sa civil service, maraming nakalista diyan first grade eligible na hanggang ngayon hindi pa nakakita ng trabaho. I suggest na kayong mga first grade eligible, huwag na kailangan kayong maging padrino. Mag-apply kayo sa civil service, and civil service will check the recommendations. Ano yung I'll appoint you? Hindi na ang maghanap ng walang politika. Pagka magdala ka sa akin ng application tapos may sulat na ganito, I endorse.
Here is a roundup of news in and around Metro Manila. Let's watch this report.
The Manila City government turned over 6 of its 12 new high-end ambulances to its district hospital on Monday. The said hospitals include Santa Ana Hospital, Gat Andres Bonifacio Memorial Medical Center, Hospital ng Sampaloc, Justice Jose Abad Santos General Hospital, Hospital ng Maynila, and Hospital ng Tondo. The other 6 advanced cardiac life support ambulances will be stationed at the Manila City Hall for emergency use. The ambulances can be used for free by residents of the city. In a Facebook post, Manila Mayor Francisco Esco Moreno Dumagoso said they will continuously aim to upgrade the city's facilities, especially its medical facilities and equipment amid the pandemic. The National Kidney Transplant Institute or NKTI in Quezon City is offering reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction RT-PCR or swab COVID-19 testing for only 391 pesos. NKTI in Facebook post Monday announced that the PhilHealth members with updated contributions for at least 6 months from time of procedure may avail of the said special rate. Likewise, qualified dependents aged 21 years old below of PhilHealth members may also avail the affordable service. NKTI said for non-PhilHealth members, swab COVID-19 testing is offered at 3,800 pesos. Swab tests will be conducted from Monday to Sunday between 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. at NKTI's executive parking area. Test results will be released a day after the procedure. Almost a year of battle against the coronavirus, finally we can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto had to say this as the city, in cooperation with the national government, prepares for the rollout of the vaccines against COVID-19. In preparation for the inoculation of residents, the Pasig City government has initially allocated 300 million pesos for the purchase of the COVID-19 vaccines once it becomes available. The local government has also trained vaccinators for the vaccine deployment, facilitation, and inoculation of residents.
Now let's take a look at the latest news in parts of the country. Here are the details.
According to a health official, several hospitals in the Mountain Province, particularly in Bontoc, have already reached full capacity following a surge of COVID-19 cases in the province. The director of the Cordillera Center for Health Development, Dr. Ruby Constantino, said Bontoc General Hospital and Bontoc's temporary treatment and monitoring facilities are already full. This was attributed to the surge of COVID-19 cases in the province to more extensive contact tracing and surveillance. On Sunday, 4 barangays in Bontoc were placed under the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ after the United Kingdom variant of COVID-19 was detected in the area. Constantino also said that there is a possibility that the localized lockdown in the 4 barangays will be extended for another 2 weeks. The social action arm of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines has urged authorities to look closer into the Tumandok killings and ensure that justice is served. The CBCP National Secretariat for Social Action, Justice and Peace or Caritas Philippines are referring to the incident in December 2020 where 9 leaders of the Tumandok tribes in Capiz were killed during the joint operation of the Philippine Army and the Philippine National Police in an attempt to issue warrants of arrest against individuals accused of being supporters of Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army. In a statement, the CBCP said they stand by the leaders of the tribes belying the accusations, saying that the real reason for their harassment was the tribe's strong opposition against the construction of the Halaur Mega Dam that will displace at least 16 out of 17 indigenous communities comprising that Tumandok. They also reiterated their call for an independent body to make a thorough yet speedy investigation to ascertain the events of December 30 and to stop the harassment of individuals and communities with unfounded red tagging and recognizing the legitimate cries of the Tumandok against development oppression.
And the updates from around the world in this report.
Hong Kong lifted its first neighborhood coronavirus lockdown on Monday morning after testing some 7,000 people and finding just a handful of cases, as debates swirled over the efficacy of the move. Over the weekend, police moved into Silof, a poor and densely populated neighborhood of about 150 apartment blocks where coronavirus clusters had sprung up in recent weeks. Officials went door-to-door conducting mandatory tests and found 0.17% of those tested had the virus. Some community business leaders were critical of how the lockdown was carried out, but officials defended the move as proportionate and said they would not rule out similar neighborhood lockdowns. World leaders are set to appear online at first summit dedicated to making the planet more resilient to the effects of climate change. Leaders including French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson are expected to contribute via video link to the Climate Adaptation Summit hosted by the Netherlands. The meeting, also featuring current UN Chief Antonio Guterres and former head Ban Ki-moon, will produce an adaptation action agenda for dealing with the effects such as rising sea levels, extreme weather, and crop failure. Former U.S. Secretary of State and Joe Biden's newly appointed climate envoy John Kerry will speak at the summit, as will Deputy Chinese Prime Minister Han Zhong. The summit is being held almost entirely online because of the coronavirus pandemic. The 38th edition of Snow Sculpture Competition is held in the French city of Val-d'Ore. Despite the COVID epidemic, 15 teams compete against each other, starting from big blocks of ice 4 meter high. The first prize went to L'Envol du Silence.
Here are the latest in showbiz. Let's watch this.
Congresswoman Lani Cayetano has issued a statement about the closing of a high-end restaurant at the Bonifacio Global City in Taguig, where TV host Raymond Gutierrez reportedly held his birthday party despite the pandemic. On Facebook, Cayetano said that she supports the decision of their city to close down an establishment for violating IATF rules. She also added that people must strictly adhere to health and safety protocols for everyone's safety. She also called on influencers, saying that the current situation calls for influencers to set the right example and do the right thing for everyone's safety. She also added that the responsibility should not be taken lightly and that now is the time to use their platform to do good and perform their civic duty to society.
And the latest from Manila Bulletin Sports section, let's watch this.
The travel ban of the national government on selected countries has forced the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas to cancel the staging of the FIBA Asia Cup next month in Clark, Pampanga. The country was supposed to host the qualifiers for Group A, where it belongs, and Group C on February 18 to 22 in a bubble tournament setup. Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas President Al Pandillo said that the SBP has been in constant communication with government officials, particularly from the National Task Force against COVID-19. But due to the new strain of the virus, the Department of Foreign Affairs has intensified its restrictions on travelers from other countries affected by the outbreak. FIBA is looking at different venues to stage the qualifiers for Groups A and C, but for now, there is no venue at the moment. As for Gilas Pilipinas, which is currently training inside the bubble at Inspire in Calamba, Laguna, practices will continue under Project Director Tab Baldwin.
And those are the news on Web today, January 26, 2021. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. You may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.